Hello there and welcome to the Royal Rancor. This is your host, or rather your captain speaking. So, this video is more of an unscripted introduction of, me. Since, this is my YouTube channel, I figured you may as well get to know me a little bit. First of all, my name is Brett, but, if you see me in this costume, I'm usually going by Elic Madwin, or Elic Madwin, doesn't matter how you want to say it. It's kind of like my own original Jedi character. We'll talk about it in a future video too. So with this video, I'll be launching the channel with 4 other videos. There are already some shorts up, just a little bit here and there, just a few odds and ends. But I think to introduce myself as a fan, I suppose I should start where it all began. See, when I was 3 years old, or around 3-ish. I had this VHS of The Phantom Menace. That was actually my initial introduction to Star Wars. Although, I did find out when I was older that the Slave One toy I had as a kid was actually given to me by my father on the day I was born. Yeah, it runs in the family. In fact, I do have a son myself, and I would actually like to, kind of show him the joy that I had as a kid with Star Wars, whether it be playing the video games, playing with the lightsabers, dressing up in the costumes, watching the movies, of course, the TV shows, etc., etc., comics, books, you name it. But even as a kid, granted earlier on it was more, yo, cool lightsaber, Jar Jar Binks is funny, now this is pod racing, that whole shtick. It's fun. And that's all Star Wars really was for me as a kid. It was fun. And then I got a little older, and I really started paying attention to the stories. Started, of course, with the prequels. I really liked episodes 1, 2, and 3. I actually saw 2 and 3 in theaters with my cousin. Me and him grew up together, basically beating the snot out of each other with lightsabers. We'd come home with bruises, bloody nose or 2, a hurt finger, maybe 3, couple scrapes on the knuckles, etc. On the occasional, with the occasional shiner, that was how we grew up. We had fun. And I would argue that's one of the coolest things about Star Wars, is that no matter who you are, it can be fun. But what really got me to become a hardcore fan actually started around the time when the Clone Wars came out. Not the Tartakovsky one, I was still too young for that, still too young back then, although I did enjoy some of the episodes on Cartoon Network when they would come up. But I would, well, let's just say, I wouldn't really get into the stories until the Clone Wars that is currently canon came out. Before that, me and my cousin, we would make our own stories, we would play games. Star Wars Battlefront Renegade Squadron was my go-to, just saying. I'll talk about that in a future video, if you guys ever want to talk, hear about that. Renegade Squadron was played on the PSP, and that really got me into the whole, the Republic versus Separatists, Empire versus Rebellion. I really started to get the whole war part of Star Wars. Before that, it was just cool lightsabers, slash. And then came The Force Unleashed, my favorite video game of all time to this day. Sam Witwer is actually a big inspiration to me as a voice actor, and I do voice acting for Star Wars Central. Like I said, this is not a scripted video, so I might ramble a little bit, I might go a little all over the place, but I'm trying to stay close to the narrative. You see, growing up, I watched Star Wars The Clone Wars, the movies. My favorite as a kid was always Episode 1 and Episode 3, until I watched the original trilogy when I was maybe in the 4th or 5th grade. Might have been a little later. Come to think about it, I know, blasphemy. But even in the original trilogy, my favorite has always been The Empire Strikes Back. Although I always did enjoy Episodes 4 and 6. Of course. Actually, I'm sure you might hear in the background, somebody's playing a certain song that you might all be very familiar with on piano. It's the Cantina song. of course. Now, another little thing is that when I started getting into like the hardcore stuff, it was the video games, it was the books, as far as, you know, backstories and stuff. The books really started getting me there. Particularly 3 series that are kind of connected, almost sequels to each other. Those being Jedi Apprentice, Jedi Quest, and The Last of the Jedi. The Last of the Jedi series, especially, I enjoyed. Fierce Olin was one of my favorite EU characters. Still is. I actually plan on rereading all 3 series. I'll probably talk about them here on the channel if you guys want to hear about it. Another little thing about me is that the first lightsaber toy I ever owned, because, you know, especially in early childhood, me and my cousin played with his lightsabers. He had a bunch. He actually got the Build Your Own Lightsaber kit that came out with Revenge of the Sith. I got the Clone Wars version when I was in like the 6th grade, and I loved it. I will probably show you guys my build later on, probably in a future video, or hell, I might even put it as a little sticker right about here. Yeah, but yeah, it's a fun thing. I always enjoyed the idea that, you know, lightsabers are unique to their builders. Speaking of, I actually went to Galaxy's Edge and made my own. This was a couple years ago. It was in late August, early September of 2021. My now wife and I went there. That's actually where I proposed to her. I proposed to her in front of the Millennium Falcon. So that's a little fun little tidbit. Yeah, me and my cousin, like, we made our own stories. I would write a bunch of them. Maybe I'll read one to you guys later on. If you guys are interested, I could read some of my fan fiction. The most detailed ones actually I started writing when I was like, I don't know, 19, 20, somewhere in there, and more recently actually. And the stories have slowly evolved over time. I've gone back and redone little bits and pieces, kind of like how George Lucas goes and, you know, or did go and do the special editions, which I actually like. Just so y'all know, I like the special editions. But it was really fun. And you might be wondering why I'm playing the Cantina song right now. It's because when I do videos like this, it'll be more Cantina-esque. Until I can eventually do a green screen on the back here on this wall, and then, you know, maybe do a little, we're in the ship, because you've noticed the channel is called the Royal Rancor. I actually named it after the ship that my own original character owns. It's a VCX 100 Corellian light freighter, and the character's name is Alec Madwin. He's a Padawan survivor. Yeah. And I actually came up with his character. I came up with that character in high school, actually. But his name was Elic Wyndham, which is my real name, Brett Wyndham. Alec was just a really cool name I liked. So, there's that. Like I said, this video is more conversational. If you don't like this type of video, don't worry. I have other videos that are a little more structured. I do ramble from time to time, and it happens. It'll get better with practice, I'm sure. I do talk a little with my hands. You know, this is the channel you're looking for. Just saying. Another little thing is, I like to think of myself as the drunken Jedi Master, but I actually don't drink alcohol as much as I used to. We'll talk about that in a future video too, because I actually have the Galaxy's Edge cookbook. You can also have some drink recipes. The easiest is the Rhodian Splice, which is apparently not supposed to be drank by humans, but oh well. Back to the story before I go on another tangent, because, you know, ADHD. You know, I've been watching a lot of the old school Star Wars YouTubers forever. Star Wars Theory, since he started his Star Wars Explained, back when he was called Star Wars Minute. Dash Star's not really around anymore. Although he does have a different channel now. It's mainly KOTOR and Diablo stuff. I've seen YouTubers come and go. I'm not in this one for the money. I'm in this one entirely for fun. It's a hobby. I might do more conversational videos like this, where I just tell you a little bit about myself or a little bit about what I think about things. I never understood the whole prequel hate thing growing up because I always enjoyed the prequels. I grew up with them. That was my introduction to Star Wars. I still buy the toys every now and then, mainly because I got a kid now. He's not quite 1 year old yet. Wait, 1 year old yet? But he'll get there soon. And I'm really excited to show him the excitement that I had as a kid. And now there's more Star Wars content for him to watch, so that's really fun too. Now, I don't want to keep you guys too long, because, let's face it, it can get nuts, so, especially on ramble videos, so I'll just give you a little more about myself, and then we'll cut to the next video, which will probably show up on your end screen, or on the end screen of this video, I mean. I really enjoyed Rebels, I enjoyed Clone Wars, I enjoy The Bad Batch, The Mandalorian, love it all. I do play Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMO. I played a little bit of KOTOR. I still haven't had a chance to finish it, though that is on my list. I know, blasphemy, right? Sacrilege! It's okay, I'll get to it. But The Force Unleashed is one of the things that really got me, thinking as far as storytelling goes. Right? How can I make a character fit in the general narrative without overshadowing the main characters, without getting in their way, without necessarily having to be associated with them, but maybe know people who know them, right? So I want to talk about this in more detail in a future video, but the whole character of Alec Madwin, he was a youngling friend of Ahsoka's back when she was a youngling. Became a Padawan shortly after she did, maybe a week or two. They were both Padawans in the war, barely saw each other during the war. He survived just like she did, except unlike her, he didn't leave the Order, and he survived entirely with the help of his astromech droid. We'll go with the rest of that later. But he eventually becomes a smuggler on the Royal Rancor, and that's where I came up with the name. And I've always enjoyed these types of stories, whether it be from Kanan's survival to, other things like Fear Solid, or, the whole idea of Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan versus Xanatos. If you don't know who Xanatos is, we'll talk about that in a future video too. Or even things in like the Old Republic where you had like Cara Holt, like long before Darth Bane. That was a thing. Jedi Errant, or Knight Errant. And then there was the Old Republic comics. My favorite one actually has Teneb Kell, who becomes Darth Thanaton. If you play Old Republic, I highly recommend reading those comics. If you don't, dude, play Old Republic. I actually run a guild called Clan Odek. It's a Mandalorian clan, of course. It's my own original clan. I think I mentioned them in one of the videos that I'm launching with this one. So that'll be neat. If you want to see the sigil, there it is right there. And yeah. If you guys want to talk about Star Wars, just let me know in the comments below, or hell, email me at theroyalrancor@gmail.com. It'll be right there. Yeah. Just shoot me an email. Let me know what you think. Holler at me. But anyways, I think I've taken up enough of your time. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of my videos. If you want to have more conversation-like videos here, or if you want me to answer your questions, leave a comment below. Feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and all that good stuff. So until next time, may the Force be with you.
I kiss my stick, you can't pick up my stick, keep your mitts off my stick. I disappear for years.